Welcome back to Ozarks Tonight. We are talking about a neighborhood watch program here in Springfield, and joining us to explain how this process works is Officer Mark Priebe with the Springfield Police Department. And thank you so much for being here, first of all.
Thanks for having us.
So you are in charge of the program this year. You're in charge of figuring out how it works and how people can sign up and go through the process. How is that going for you? I know it's your first year in charge of the program.
It's actually going well. We just set some dates here at the end of April for our first training session for 2019, and I've got upwards about 15, 16 folks that have registered, which is pretty good for our first session for the quarter. And kind of getting a gist on how everything's working and looking to keep things somewhat the same, but also maybe make some changes with the program.
So you said first session of the quarter. Will you have more sessions then throughout the year, throughout this quarter? Yeah,
we try to do at least every quarter of the year, try to do at least one major training session. But we will have several throughout the year that they're 4-hour sessions, two nights a week typically.
What all is covered in these sessions?
We provide a lot of information how the department works, how we respond to calls, what types of calls we respond to, just a really good general overview to the citizens that they may not realize all the things that we deal with and respond to as a department. Then we explain the dispatch side of things and how we are dispatched to calls and respond. And then the main part obviously is the neighborhood watch program, why we have the program, what it entails, what their involvement would require, because there are requirements to make an active neighborhood watch group, and what they have to meet and the things that they have to do. We do make it's not a very difficult thing to do, but we try to make it something that you're willing to jump into and actually be involved in and stay involved in. So.
Now, this is one question you mentioned that you explain to homeowners and residents why you have the neighborhood watch. Why do you have a neighborhood watch program?
The more eyes that we have out there that are really watching in the neighborhoods, even in the business areas, the folks that are paying attention to what's going on, those are witnesses, those are people that can report things to us as law enforcement when it comes to crime-related issues or problems in their neighborhood even. And the more people that are aware of things that we want them to report and things to look for and how to look for them, that's just more people. We can't be everywhere at once, and if our citizens are armed with the information of what we need from them and what we expect or what we want them to provide to us, it just makes it that much easier for us to be able to deal with crime and help combat the issues within their neighborhoods. And it also builds the community relationship. It builds that relationship between our neighborhoods, our citizens, and the police department.
Yeah, we always talk about if you see something, say something, but
Absolutely.
Going through a program like this, it gives you more of that responsibility of if you see something, then you know what you should be reporting, what you should not be reporting. What are some of the things, the typical things that sometimes you get reports on that you don't necessarily think should be reported to you because it might be not that serious, or what are some things that we should be reporting that we're not?
Actually, there's a lot that doesn't get reported. People don't want to call 911 because they don't think it's an emergency. Whereas here in Springfield, we want you to call. If it's something that doesn't look right, seems suspicious, it's different to what you're used to in your neighborhoods or even anywhere in the city, we want you to call. So it doesn't have to be an emergency. The only way that we're going to know about it is if you call in, and the only way to call in to get us, the police department and the police officers, is 911. They prioritize the calls in dispatch, so if it's a lower priority call where it's not necessarily an emergency, they prioritize those and they will dispatch them out when officers are available to respond to those calls. But we want you to call, and if there's nothing we don't want you to call about, and there's other avenues that we teach about too, that if it's not an emergency, if it's more of a neighborhood complaint, we have the city has set up the Citizens Resource Center. We have other avenues that you can report things even online or by telephone.
It's better to call and it be nothing than to call and you miss out on something
Absolutely.
That would have been important.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Neighborhood Watch program. So if someone is watching at home and they're interested, how do you go about signing up, and do you have to get a group together in your neighborhood? What are the things you have to do with your neighbors to make sure everyone is on board, that people want to do it? How does that work?
There's 3 phases of the program. The first phase is getting to the training. Our first training is April 24th and 25th at the end of the month. You can go on our PD website and look under Neighborhood Watch. It's actually under Crime Prevention, then Neighborhood Watch. You can actually register online. We put that information out on all of our social media websites, and Nextdoor is another website that we use for crime prevention. And register, it's a quick 1 or 2 minute thing to fill out, and then attend the training. It's a 4-hour session. It's 2 nights in the evening, 6 to 8 p.m. That's the first phase. Once we get, depending on the size of the group, We have to have clearly defined borders, and then depending on the number of residents within that area that they generate, they have to have 20% of those folks that attend the training and then go through the process.
And you said there's a little bit of a difference with homeowners, houses, and then apartment complexes. You still do it for apartment complexes?
We do.
Right?
It's neighborhood watch / apartment watch. So on the apartment side, we have several that are in town that are active still. And it's geared more towards the management of the complexes, depending on how many, and so their percentages are a little different. We also want to include the residents. There are some residents that stay in apartment complexes, but lots of times that's fluid, and they change all the time. So the percentage requirements are a little bit less for the residents, but we definitely want as many people as we can included in that whole program.
Officer Priebe, I also wanted to ask you before we go about your trip with the Special Olympics. You were representing the state of Missouri. How was that?
It was amazing. It was a long 17 days away from being home and work, but it was amazing. Great group of people that I got to run with. Got to meet a lot of great people. And a very interesting country to learn about. So it was a great adventure, something that I'll always cherish and appreciate.
Yeah. And a lot of responsibility for you too. You're going overseas, a huge event, and you're representing all officers here in Missouri. What is that like for you?
It's an honor because I am representing the state in the law enforcement torch run for Missouri. So it was definitely an honor to be able to say that I was from the state of Missouri and Springfield, and promote Springfield and how great our community is and our department. So it was great.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing that with us. And we will have information about the Neighborhood Watch on our website in this story, and that's ozarksfirst.com. Officer Priebe, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more.